方でやれるから、そんなことはしません。いいでしょう？誰も私たちにファンの応援の仕方を指図したりしませんよね。ESPN のエル・ダンカンみたいな解説者が、マイケル・ジョーダンの引退で NBA の視聴率が大幅に落ちたことを都合よく忘れようとしているのが面白い。でも、シャック・コービー・レイカーズ時代が始まると、多くのファンがリーグに戻って
ESPN host Elle Duncan has once again sparked controversy with her remarks regarding Caitlin Clark supporters and their approach to following the WNBA. The central issue revolves around an expectation that newcomers to the league should demonstrate appreciation for all athletes, particularly veteran players, rather than focusing exclusively on specific stars. Duncan's position suggests that fresh audiences entering the WNBA landscape need to undergo some form of initiation, acknowledging the contributions of established players and those who built the foundation before recent arrivals. However, numerous casual viewers reject this notion entirely, maintaining that consumer choice dictates viewing preferences without obligation. Sports enthusiasts argue their fandom operates on personal interest, comparable to selecting preferences at any establishment, AUTM. They determine their own path. The situation becomes particularly ironic considering historical precedents in professional basketball.
コービー・レイカーズ時代が始まると、多くのファンがリーグに戻ってきて、注目を集めるようになった。でも、どうなったと思います？多くのファンが二度と来なくなってしまったんです。でも、世界のエイジア・ウィルソンみたいな人たちにファンが頭を下げて賛辞を送らなければならないなんて考えは、いや、しません。しません。ここに来て、リーグが成長しているのは、X、Y、Z が人気。
When Michael Jordan stepped away from the NBA, viewership numbers plummeted dramatically. Audiences gradually returned during the Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant era with the Los Angeles Lakers, though significant portions of the fan base never resumed watching. Yet somehow, current commentary demands that WNBA followers must demonstrate reverence toward players like Aja Wilson, regardless of individual interest. This expectation seems unreasonable, suggesting that audiences must fabricate enthusiasm or falsely claim the league's expansion stems from multiple sources contradicts reality. Examination of actual viewership data reveals underwhelming performance across most broadcasts.
Z が人気だからだよ、なんて嘘をつくつもりはありません。改めて視聴率を見てみると、視聴率は良くありません。良いかのように振る舞うのはやめましょう。彼らはまたしても、新たな水増しシステムを使って視聴率を自慢しようとしているのです。ただ人々に嘘をついているだけです。ESPN は毎年のように水増ししています。WNBA の団体法、いや、新しい評価システムを導入したので。
Claims about ratings growth often rely on misleading comparisons using recently modified measurement systems. ESPN's year-over-year statistics appear inflated due to updated calculation methods that didn't exist previously, making historical comparisons inherently dishonest. Duncan's relationship with defending Clark remains complicated and inconsistent. While the SportsCenter anchor has occasionally supported the Indiana Fever star against criticism from colleagues, she's simultaneously undermined Clark on other occasions. Characterizing Duncan as a consistent defender requires selective memory. When Clark received Time Magazine's Athlete of the Year recognition for 2024 inches December, Duncan supported the decision.
に水増ししています。WNBA の団体法、いや、新しい評価システムを導入したのです。もしあの評価システムがあったら、視聴率は水増しされ、何年も前から違ったものになっていたでしょう。しかし、あの評価システムは存在しなかったのです。ESPN のアナリストがケイトリン・クラーク問題を分析。WNBA に注目が集まっています。なんてこった。エル・ダンカンは止められない。彼女は
Her statement emphasized that Clark's selection appropriately reflected an extraordinary transformational season and that recognizing individual achievement shouldn't diminish others' contributions. She argued against viewing Clark's prominence as undeserved elevation, comparing it to questioning MVP awards when entire teams contribute to success. However, Duncan also identifies problems arising from Clark's celebrity within women's basketball circles. During a conversation with Stephen A. Smith, she acknowledged Clark's importance to the WNBA while simultaneously insisting that Aja Wilson remains the superior player. This pattern of mentioning other athletes when praising someone specific illustrates a broader issue within league discourse.
彼女はこの行為を止められない ESPN のアナリストでスポーツセンターのアンカーでもあるエル・ダンカンは、過去に何度もインディアナフィーバーのスター、ケイトリン・クラークを擁護してきました。彼女はまた彼女を酷評してきました。現実を見ましょう。たとえ同僚の一部が批判していたとしても、あなたたちがここで白騎士のように振る舞おうとしているはずがありません。エル・ダンカンですよね。それが私たちのやっていることなのですか？わかりました。
The comparison to past basketball legends proves instructive. Nobody discusses Michael Jordan's greatness by immediately pivoting to Magic Johnson's accomplishments. Jordan's excellence stands independently without qualification or comparison, yet WNBA commentary consistently follows a different pattern. Duncan expressed concern that excessive focus on Clark often accompanies dismissive attitudes toward other competitors. She suggests the problem isn't celebrating Clark's impact, but rather how that celebration frequently includes devaluing everyone else's contributions.
なのですか？わかりました。信じられない。その一例は、ダンカンのディフェンダーであるクラーク、あなたたちがエル・ダンカンをケイトリン・クラークのディフェンダーと呼ぶわけがない、が昨年12月に2024年のタイム誌の年間最優秀アスリートに選ばれたことですが、多くの人がこれに同意しませんでした。その否定的な削除について何か言ったのはごくごく少数でした。ただの古いファンダムです。
The compliment followed by denigration approach troubles her and other observers who see fans dividing into camps that either worship Clark while despising others or reject her significance entirely. This criticism misses a fundamental point. Many viewers refuse to perpetuate false narratives about widespread league popularity when evidence contradicts such claims. Angel Reese cannot consistently fill Chicago Sky home games. Most broadcasts continue generating poor ratings. Indiana Fever viewership would likely have declined substantially had audiences definitively known Clark wouldn't return, demonstrating where genuine interest lies.
古いファンダムです。ダンカンはこの問題について投稿で話しました。ケイトリン・クラークはタイム誌の年間最優秀アスリートに値しました。W のメンバーとして、リーグは自動的に盛り上がります。彼女が本当に稀有な変革の年として認められているからといって、不当に高く評価されていると主張するのは馬鹿げています。チームでは誰もがそれほど重要なのに、なぜ MVP を授与するのか、と言っているようなものです。どちらも真実である可能性。
Duncan acknowledges Clark deserves recognition.
真実である可能性がある。引用。スポーツは常に個人の功績を称えるものであり、それが他人の仕事を軽蔑するために使用されない限り、そのことに不公平な点は何もない。ダンカンはクラークの味方であることが多いが、クラークのスターダムが女子バスケットボール界に問題を引き起こしている側面も理解している。それはファンの問題ではなく彼女たちの問題だ。
That acknowledgement doesn't require submitting to pressure from media figures and league insiders who demand newcomers perform some ritual homage to established players. Traditional sports coverage never demanded such deference. Audiences naturally gravitate towards specific athletes based on personal preference without obligation to celebrate everyone equally. The situation involves more than pure basketball analysis. Political perspectives influence media coverage, and Duncan's ideological leanings shape her commentary approach. Her previous statements about Clark reveal patterns in how she evaluates players, with certain characteristics apparently carrying more significance than pure athletic merit.
Point as a kind of a big thing. Is their annual fall luncheon? What is a luncheon? Like, the only time I've ever heard of luncheon is in the steamed ham Simpsons things. A formal lunch. I have only ever heard it being used in this from the context of Seymour Skinner making sure that Superintendent Chalmers that he was prepared for an unforgettable luncheon.
The league and many of its athletes appear to prioritize specific identity markers and political alignments. Clark's profile doesn't align with preferred narratives within certain WNBA circles. Players like Brittany Griner embody multiple identity categories that generate automatic support from particular media personalities. The suggestion that enthusiasm for Clark requires proportional praise for other athletes like Paige Buchers ignores personal preference. Individual opinions about different players' appeal remain entirely valid regardless of whether they align with media expectations. The persistence of sports media figures in promoting this agenda raises questions about their priorities.
He was prepared for an unforgettable luncheon. It's the only time I've ever heard that used. I didn't even think that was a real thing. But it says here, and that might be the most important takeaway from Clark's appearance. She knows how important it is to be a role model to inspire the generations to come. Wednesday, she listed former Minnesota player Maya Moore and tennis player Serena Williams as her heroes. She also had a piece of advice for young players in attendance. Just enjoy it, it goes so fast. I'm only 23, but I feel like I was just in high school, so my best memories are from playing sports when I was...
Demanding that audiences modify their viewing habits and express preferences to satisfy ideological requirements seems counterproductive. Casual fans entering the WNBA marketplace won't alter their behavior based on media pressure, nor should they. Authentic engagement stems from genuine interest, not manufactured enthusiasm designed to satisfy arbitrary standards established by commentators and league advocates who prioritize political messaging over organic fan development. The fundamental disagreement remains unresolved. Whether casual sports consumers owe anything beyond viewership to athletes they don't follow. Traditional fandom never operated under such constraints, and imposing them now serves no legitimate purpose beyond satisfying media personalities who conflate progressive politics with sports coverage. Audiences will continue supporting players who capture their interest while ignoring those who don't, regardless of how many times pundits insist otherwise.
But I feel like I was just in high school, so my best memories are from playing sports when I was in middle school and high school, just enjoy it. And, I mean, she's not wrong with any of that. And that's one of the things you can see with Caitlin Clark, and I'd say that's probably one of those things that she kind of feels pressure. Like, I don't think Caitlin Clark in general feels pressure playing basketball. I think she probably feels pressure to be Caitlin Clark. Like, if
Caitlin Clark's lucrative off-season speaking circuit continues to generate substantial income. The basketball star attends various events, delivers presentations, sharing familiar anecdotes, and receives significant compensation for these appearances. Though she repeats similar narratives at these engagements, the earnings are well-deserved given her impact on the sport. During a recent annual autumn gathering, which some might find unusual, as formal lunch events aren't commonly discussed in everyday conversation, Clark shared insights that resonated with attendees. The gathering featured discussions about influences and mentorship, topics that have sparked considerable conversation among fans and observers.
I think she probably feels pressure to be Caitlin Clark. Like, if I was to guess, Caitlin Clark feels pressure, being Caitlin Clark, more so than she feels pressure being Caitlin Clark, the basketball player. Like, being Caitlin Clark, the global icon. And not in a way of, like, the celebrity of it, but in a way of, like, she has to be almost that role model. Like, she wants to be what Maya Moore was to her.
Perhaps the most significant message from Clark's appearance centered on her understanding of mentorship responsibilities. She recognizes the weight of inspiring future athletes. At Wednesday's event, she named former Minnesota athlete Maya Moore and tennis champion Serena Williams as personal inspirations. Additionally, she offered guidance to younger athletes present at the gathering. Her message emphasized savoring the experience, noting how quickly time passes.
Be what Maya Moore was to her, to other people, and like that ends up being a tricky thing to do when you are in 2025 and people are going to hate you just to hate you. And that is that's important as well. Like, that is a big thing, and it's like, it's not, I mean this when I say it's not a life I would want to live. Like, I do.
Despite being only 23 years old, she reflected on how recently her high school days seemed, highlighting that her fondest recollections stem from participating.
It's not a life I would want to live. Like, I do not envy the position Caitlin Clark is in at all. And I would envy it a little bit more if she was actually getting paid what she was worth. She's getting paid what she's worth for these talks. If she was getting paid the 30, 40 million she's worth to play basketball. It's very different getting paid 10 million a year and getting paid 30 or getting paid 40 million a year. Very big difference. And then also that freaking shoe deal. She'll be getting paid at minimum 10 mil a year from Nike.
The challenge involves embodying the type of mentor that Maya Moore represented for her, now serving that same purpose for others. This becomes increasingly difficult in the current era where public figures face criticism regardless of their actions. Some individuals express negativity simply for its own sake. This reality presents a significant burden. The lifestyle associated with such prominence wouldn't appeal to everyone.
Paid at minimum 10 mil a year from Nike. But look, it is what it is. It is what it is. And yeah, like, you can genuinely tell when it comes to Caitlin Clark that she is trying to, she's trying to be as good a role model as possible for everybody. And it's not one of those things like she wants to help the sport.
While there might be some appeal to the position if adequate financial compensation matched the value provided, current payment structures don't reflect true worth. The speaking engagements offer appropriate remuneration, but basketball salary falls short of the estimated $30 to $40 million that performance warrants. Earning $10 million annually differs drastically from receiving $30 or $40 million. Furthermore, endorsement agreements, particularly with major athletic brands, should provide at least $10 million yearly. Nevertheless, circumstances are what they are.
And it's not one of those things like she wants to help the sport of basketball all around. She wants to be a role model for, like, the fact is that when she goes out into that stadium, it's people of all ages, genders, races. And then when she probably looks into the audience, it's probably one of those, maybe two of those three things. But yeah, it's always a...
Clark's authenticity shines through in her efforts to serve as an exemplary figure for diverse audiences. She genuinely aims to benefit basketball as a whole, striving to inspire people regardless of background. When performing in arenas, spectators span all demographics, various ages, identities, and backgrounds fill the stands. Looking out at crowds, she likely sees representation across multiple dimensions. Holding oneself to elevated standards because of perceived responsibility toward others remains commendable.